Oh, that's why I wasn't going live because I set it for 11:45 and I was trying to do it at 11:42. But anyway, I'm jumping straight into it. I'm live on many different platforms and things of that nature. My name is Salih Parker. I represent Open for Business, and that's my platform on Facebook. Um, but you can also catch me at Salih Parker, on Facebook and things of that nature. And definitely, I have my own email account. It's sallyparker at sallyparker.com. I recommend that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come off this device because I don't want any distractions as far as when I'm expressing what I'm going to express with everybody and everything like that. So I'm just going to end my Hold on for a second. Let me just end this stream because I was on a different platform streaming while I was waiting on me to be live here, but I didn't realize that, and that's just my own, little ignorance or whatever. But I didn't realize that I set it for 11:45. When they would tell me go live, I kept pressing it, and I was just thinking that, like, why am I not going live? Like, what's going on? I'm thinking I'm being, shadow banned or whatever like that. But for the most part, yeah, I represent Open for Business. Open for Business meaning that, pretty much open for business. Any type of business advice or anything that a person has in reference to business that they want to bring to the table, I'm open for it, and any type of help I can assist with, I'm open for that too, just as well. I mean, it just has to make sense, ultimately. But I just want to say that for the most part, I'm just very let me take this slow mode off because I think this is kind of like messing something up. Hold on, let me just click to this because it's like say some slow mode is on, and let me just go to let me see what that says. All right, let me see if I can go to changing the slow mode. Nope, it's not allowing me to do it, but okay, create a poll. Okay, that might be a good thing. I think I should are you happy with Joe Biden as president? Yeah, that's my question. Are you happy with Joe Biden as president? But I got to take the slow mode off. But I have to find a way to. I have to find a way to do that. But anyway, for the most part, I'm grateful to be live. I mean, I have a few videos in which that I'm going to do and everything like that. But for the most part, I just wanted to express that, in essence, this guy Joe Biden, he's been anti-black from the time he's got into politics, or maybe even from the time he was born. I mean, like, he's he's tied to some groups that that have nothing to do with black folks or whatever, which I wouldn't expect that. I mean, he's white, so he's supposed to do what he's supposed to be a part of what he's supposed to be a part of. But when you become a public official and you're a politician, you're dealing with the general public. I feel as though that a lot of your policies should reflect those that are, your constituents or even those of the population of the country. And when you're easy to just say 10% of the population of this country don't exist, and we're going to treat them like animals and things of that nature, that's one thing. But, it's one thing to be prejudiced or racist as a private citizen. Okay. Everybody has the right to their preference. I'm not saying that it's right, but they do have a right to their preference. But when you've been a public official and have been an open racist, and all you use is rhetoric and judiciary committee language and everything like that to form and shape your bills that was basically targeted against minorities. I mean, like, where do you think the new Jim Crow came from? It stemmed from a lot of policies in which that you supported, and everything, even with going back to Obama, like Obama was, I guess, quote unquote, the first black president or black looking president, but he's not African American. He's not an ADOS. And, just the whole thought or the notion that the fact that the country actually stood up and voted with someone that didn't look like, look like them or even the average president. So I was like, okay, I was a bit enamored in a sense, by it. But the minute that he chose Joe Biden as his vice president, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm going back to 2008. I mean, like, I'm going back to 2008. Like, I already knew about Joe Biden back then. I know about his policies and what he thought of us, even with the school busing act and all that, this, that, and the third, as far as, white kids being educated with black children and things of that nature. He said he doesn't want to send his children to a jungle school or something to that effect. Like, so, I mean, I can even go deeper than that, but I'm just basically letting you know that I know about him way before everybody even started talking about his crime bill now when he was running for president. But he basically was already anti-black from that standpoint, like in general or outside of the crime bill. But we've been rocked to sleep by these Democrats by so much that it's that we bypass things just for a feel good moment. But where they at right now, you got the Urban League, you got the NAACP, you got Reverend Al Sharpton who need to go eat. You got all of these bootlegs running around trying to get a moment with him just to sit down and talk with him and things of that nature. And he's not giving them a time of day. He's like, okay, I'll see y'all in 4 years. I'll meet y'all at your barbecue and I'll come and go to your churches and everything, and y'all gonna vote for me again or whoever else I put up there for y'all to vote for. And that's exactly what's gonna happen, because that's what they do. They pander to us every 4 years. See, white people don't go through that when it comes to voting. They get tangibles for their vote because they don't vote every 4 years like we do. We vote for the mayor every 4 years. We vote for the governor every 4 years. And we vote for the presidency every 4 years. But white folks, they vote every 2 years because they vote for their congressmen. They vote for their senators. They make their state senators all the way up to the U.S. senators and their state congressmen to their U.S. congressmen. And they hold them accountable because that person got 2 years to make all the promises. He got 2 years to make everything happen that he told them that he was going to make happen for their vote, for him to be a part of that district or be head of that district or whatever, to keep his seat in that district. See, that's the difference. That's why Donald Trump didn't have to pander to black people when it was time for him to elect for when he ran for presidency. I'm just basically breaking down the fact that he didn't have to do all of that because he already understood what it was, because he's been a voter himself for years. I mean, he knows who to vote for. He knows what politician to vote for. That's going to benefit his business and things of that nature. So he's getting a tangible for his vote. So he can do it, but it's okay. I'm not saying that he's different much, but I'm just looking at the mindset. If he's able to use his vote to get tangibles, then why me as a black man can't vote to get tangibles? Why I got to be like, oh, well, we just got to hold on a little bit longer? No, I'm not waiting to vote on for, because if I need to pay my rent tomorrow, I'm not voting for somebody that's going to say, well, wait till next year to pay your rent when it needs to get done tomorrow. No, I got to get up there and make it happen right now. So my whole thing is that why am I going to keep voting for people that's going to tell me to hold on paying your rent? Hold on getting your heart transplant. Just hold on a little longer before we give you some. What? No, I'm not waiting on you to give me nothing. So all that hold on don't mean nothing to me. So it don't faze me by you coming to my church talking about some vote for John Murphy or vote for Chris Thompson or no, for what? What am I getting in return for my vote? Whatever happened to the separation of church and state? Why you got people that want to vote or be a part of the voting rights in politics want to come to our churches and tell us who to vote for and who's good for us and this, that, and the third? When I'm in church, I got the best thing in the world, quote unquote. If I'm at church, I don't need a politician because my God is above all of that. So if my God is above all of that, why I need somebody there to come in and tell me who to vote for? I should be praying that the things that this politician gonna give us, I should be praying that God can give it to us, because I guess the God I serve can do anything. But see, this would be the game that they play on us. You know what I mean? And it's just sad that it happens like that. But this is just the true reality of a lot of situations. And I'll keep it 100 with you. I don't lose no sleep over it. But I'm just saying, like, we actually sat out there and twerked our way to the polls to vote for this cat, and He hasn't done not one thing for black people. He's not even done anything for the organizations that told you to vote. These organizations didn't tell you who to vote for, but they just told you to vote. But you already know what they was pushing you towards. They were pushing you towards voting for a Democrat just to get Trump out of office or whatever like that. But it really wouldn't have made no difference. The only difference between Trump and Biden is that Trump ain't going to hide it. He's not going to hide behind rhetoric or make symbolism and everything like that behind stuff like that. You know? But it is what it is, though. But like, yo, these people are funny. Both sides is the same thing, you know, and everything. But getting to the 1994 crime bill. I'm gonna be honest with you. My criminal record precedes the 1994 crime bill. I've been in and out of jail since 1990. However, due to this bill, it allowed me to be a target. It allowed me to be a target in my neighborhood. It allowed them to redistrict zones as high intensity drug trafficking areas. So because it's a high intensity drug trafficking area, that allowed them to be able to just pull up on me and just stop me and search me and do whatever it is that they wanted to do to me. A lot of times I ain't had nothing on me, but you know, they would plan it. They would plan it on you. If you had enough money, they'll take your money and let you go, whoop your ass a little bit, let you keep your drugs, whatever. You know, I come from an era where it was like community policing, where we had a Mike Day in North New Jersey, even though he got hit a few times. Motherfucker tried to kill him because motherfucker wasn't playing with him because he wasn't playing fair either. And I ain't gonna hold you. I'm just keeping it 100. But he was a dirty motherfucker, and he knew what he got came with the territory, and he ain't flinch about it, none of that. But yeah, I met the motherfucker who shot Mike Day. It's a few niggas that shot him. You know, then you had Officer Larry Lemon, community police officer from the neighborhood. Like, you know what I mean? He catch you doing some bullshit, he gonna take you home to your mother. He ain't gonna lock you up or whatever like that. He be like, yeah, you know you did some bullshit. He'll take you home to your mother, you know? Community policing is, it be some motherfuckers in the middle of the street fighting. Police will get called, they'll pull up, they'll see anybody doing nothing but just fighting. They'll be like, yo, y'all gonna fight, take that in the park. Just as long as ain't nobody trying to do nothing to hurt nobody. Be like, nah, we just want to take that shit in the park. Plain and simple, they'll pull up and they'll watch and sit there and wait till it's all over with. But they wasn't trying to lock nobody up. But that was community policing because a lot of the police in my community came from my community. So therefore they were able to, they had a level of understanding because I'm from the west side. A lot of them went to south side, you know, they went to Central, Shabazz, you know, Shabazz is south side, west side. You know, like they all, you know, everybody had some type of connection as far as just education and just being in the city because it was a lot of pride in the city back then. Outside of the fact you had different factions or whatever like that. But there wasn't a proliferation of violence. It was like everybody have disagreements. Nobody agrees on everything. But there wasn't a proliferation of violence and murder, you know, to the point to where it is now. So, and that's like prevalent throughout every community. And that's sad. But the bottom line is this, is that you got to look at what created this, though. Let's go back to the Iran-Contra affairs. Let's go back to the CIA. Let's go back to the covert operations. How do you think George Bush was able to sit down with Manuel Noriega and negotiate a deal? But this was this was after the Iran-Contra affairs. See, during the Iran-Contra affairs, that was during Reagan. But guess who was his vice president? George Herbert Bush, the father. And he's a former CIA executive. He's a former CIA director, and he should have never been president because he put himself as subject to be placed under oath or be subpoenaed when he's a CIA agent, and he has immunity from that. So literally, that man spent 12 years in the White House because he was Ronald Reagan vice president for 8 years, and then he became president for 4 years. And during that whole time, if you ever look at the whole rehash on it, Iran was fighting with Iraq, and Iraq was an ally of ours, and we supplied Iraq Iran, we supplied Iraq with so many weapons and everything like that to fight against Iran because Ronald Reagan feared an Islamic revolution in the Middle East. He feared Ayatollah Khomeini or whatever. What was his name? General, whatever. But I may not have his name correct, but I'm just basically getting into foreign policy. He feared an Islamic revolution, but Iran has always been Islamically revolutionized. I mean, they're Persian. Iranians are Persian. Like you may be like, oh, they're Arabs or whatever. This, that, third. No, they're not Arabs. They're Persian. Like their native land is Persia. Iraq is Babylon. You know, like Saudi Arabia. Truthfully, all of that really is like all a part of Egypt. But you know, you let anybody else tell you, they'll tell you different. But I'm just basically going into what I know. I mean, you don't have to believe it. It's not about no amount of belief make nothing a fact. So whether you believe it or not, don't make it not truth. Or whether you don't believe it, whether you believe it doesn't make it truth, and whether you don't believe it doesn't make it a lie. But that's just me speaking because that's my truth, and I'm not stunting or fronting on none of that. Like, but what I'm saying is this is that like Israel is a part of Egypt, just like Kuwait is a part of Iraq. Iraq is Babylon, modern day Babylon, and Kuwait was established as a city, as a country based under the OPEC agreement and things of that nature. And the only way for you to buy oil for Kuwait exports 60% of the world's oil. The United States, OPEC, and everything's in control of that. In order for you to purchase oil from Kuwait, you have to convert your currency to U.S. currency. Period. And the U.S. dollar is so weak that other countries is like, I don't want to sell mine for the weak dollar. Like, I don't want that, you know. But this was forced upon them. If they don't agree, then they'll place sanctions and say, oh, they're terrorizing their people, this, that, and the third. And they'll place sanctions upon these countries. And the news media tells, oh, they're treating those people so bad. That's why they place sanctions. But they really place sanctions because they're not playing according to the United States game. Like, you know, like listen, a matter of fact, I'm formally African American. I don't identify with any of that. I'm sovereign, and I'm a black nationalist. I know my ethnicity. I don't have to get tied up in all these titles or whatever, this, that, and the third. I'll give you whatever answer you want, depending on who asking. Because I don't swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I don't swear to do none of that because I don't give my oath to no man. The minute they tell you to put your hand on the Bible and you swear to tell the truth, first of all, I'm not putting my hand on no Bible that was written by a homosexual. I'm not putting my hand on no King James Version or no King James Bible. That's out. Plus, another thing, I'm definitely not giving you my oath because they asked me one time, do you swear to tell the truth? I said, no, I don't. I don't swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I don't swear to do none of that. And there's also, you're gonna lie. I said, no, I'm not telling you I'm a lie, but I just don't swear. I don't agree with giving you my oath. I don't owe you that. What did you do to obtain my oath other than the fact that I'm sitting here and we're having an arbitrary dispute? You don't deserve my oath for that. Who are you? You know, when you give a person your oath, you know what that is? That's deep. That's deep. You give a person your oath, like, and matter of fact, we wasn't even in court. We were at an arbitrary hearing, and I said, I'm not under oath. I don't have to do that. And so the lady made a recommendation on what I should do. I said, well, I thank you for your recommendation, but I don't have to follow that. I said, have a nice day. And I kept it moving. See, the thing is this, is that when you're sovereign and when you know who you are, like, you don't have to just be adhered or accommodated by anyone's thought or of you and things of that nature. Like, you don't have to be tied to that. I'm not tethered to nothing that doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm only tethered to the things in which I choose to be tethered to, and that's pretty much it. You know, nobody's here to play no games with anybody, but nah, this is real stuff, you know? Yeah, but like, yeah, this is It's some good stuff though. But touching upon him and things of that nature, like I'm not gonna say that I didn't make my own choices and decisions in life. I'm not going to say that I didn't do that. What I'm saying is this: is that the policies in which that this man put in place allowed me and many others to be targeted in our communities, and it didn't matter our background, what we've been through, or whatever this that wherever we came from. He just felt as though that we were super predators, and the language and the rhetoric is being exposed because everybody that was on code already knew what he was saying, but now they're exposing it on a level to where they don't want to align themselves with him because of that. But everything else, once all of that got washed under the table, they all stood in line with him. But now look at what's going on in Russia. Look at what's going on in Ukraine. See, listen, under George Bush II, the second president, Russia took Georgia. He took their pipeline. He took it because it was all about energy and resources and being in control. That man controls 60 to 70% of Europe's energy now. And it's only because of the democratic administrations in which that we've had in this country. But I could care less what he take. I don't give a fuck if he take the whole Europe. I could give zero fucks about that. All I'm saying that for this point is that to get y'all to understand that he's done it under democratic administrations. Other than the fact he took Georgia under Bush, the second Bush. Yeah, the second Bush. But at that time, he was able to do that because I guess United States at the time was too tied up with Iraq and everything like that, dealing with the bombing, the 9/11. They went to Afghanistan, then they went to Iraq, and they was tied up with that, whatever. But Russia was taking Georgia. Then under Obama, they took Crimea. Then under Trump, they tried to take Ukraine. They didn't invade Ukraine, but they occupied Ukraine. They occupied certain portions, but they wasn't moving under Trump. Just like in Syria. They was acting up in Syria. He didn't waste no time. He dropped bombs on Syria. Like, no, y'all gonna get in line or you're gonna get more of this. And it's gonna be a whole lot of people that's gonna be hurting. And it was what it was. And Syria got right in line. But now you get Joe Biden in office. The first thing he does, he cancels the Keystone Pipeline, which made us, before the pipeline even got into effect, we were the world's largest exporter in the history of the world. We were the world's largest exporter of natural gas. Natural gas. Why do you think gas was so cheap during Trump? But that was Obama though. But that was Obama. Obama had 2 terms. Gas price never went down not one time. But they say Obama built that economy. Obama didn't have a Keystone Pipeline. Obama was not building natural gas. Obama was not that. He was with the green movement. He was with the, keep the country reliant and dependent upon other countries for energy because they're doing it the green way. So we're going to buy green stuff, the Green Deal. That's why we got up out of the PP, the Pan Pacific, the PPA. We got out of that. We got out of the France Accord. Trump took us out of all of that because all of that did was just tie us to restricting what we're able to do as a country and as an economy. Listen, even in China, there's over 1 billion people there. They're successful. Of course, there's pollution. Of course, there's going to be adverse effect based on chemicals and things of that nature that's going to affect people and things of that nature. And I feel that the EPA has done a great job as far as keeping people safe. However, have they been prejudiced and things of that nature? Absolutely. And that's a whole nother story because there's certain things in the atmosphere in Black communities that are not in the same atmosphere of white communities, even though it has to be dispersed. But, like I come from Jersey. We're the leader in chemical production. New Jersey, believe it or not, has the most chemical production companies in the country. On top of that, one of the world's biggest refineries. We got Chevron there. Chevron deals with nothing but oil refinery. That's where Condoleezza Rice comes from. Condoleezza Rice is an ex-Chevron exec on top of being an academic. Why do you think Bush chose her as a part of his cabinet? Because he knew he was going to go take that oil. That's all about resources. On top of them taking the opium. On top of them taking the opium in Afghanistan. Why do you think everything was opioid based? I think all the medication are opioid based, but it backfired. See, the same way black folks had their crack epidemic, white people had their crack epidemic with them damn pills because they had the insurance. As long as in the pill form, it didn't look like you was walking up and down the street scraping by looking like a bum, but you still was an addict. It don't matter. And for them, they didn't say we're going to make a bill to put them in prison. They came up with so many different sweeping laws and things of that nature to help people get back on their feet, especially West Virginia. And West Virginia is a very peculiar state to me because West Virginia is almost damn near 85% white, right? And they're number one or number two racist states in the country. And the only one that's topping them is Alabama. But Alabama is over majority black. It's over 50% black. So the contrast is that one population is black and the other population is white, two different states. But the one thing that they got in common, the one thing that them two dumbass states got in common? Let me restore the chat. The one thing them two dumbass states got in common? Is that they both lead the nation. They both lead the nation in illiteracy. They both lead the nation in the highest rate of dropouts. They both lead the nation in ignorance. Their education levels, they're number one in the country for the worst educational system. So it's easy to say why they may be number one and two as far as racist and segregated states. But where I come from in New Jersey, we're number 6 on the list, segregated states. State of New Jersey was the last state to end slavery. Last state to end slavery, but the first state to create state troopers. So what do you think these white people was going to do once we wasn't slaves no more? Because they're not making no money on their land. So what else you think they're going to do? You feel me? That's like, you give me some drugs, I'm able to sell it, and then you put me in prison, and then after I'm emancipated from that, what the fuck else you think I'm going to do? Only thing is that the shit they did was state sanctioned. You got all these black politicians fighting for this and fighting for that. We need more voting. We need more this. We need more support. Cool, but I'm waiting to see one politician that's willing to run and say that me being a black man in America and I'm running, or a black woman in America and I'm running for office of the highest, highest state or just a part of the United States. I would like to push amongst my constituents who look at me as somebody worthy. I would like to push for the Constitution to be changed, where black folks are not written in the Constitution as 3/5 of a human being. Maybe if you push for that, then we can get human rights. And then after that, because if I'm 3/5 of a human, then I'm not a full human. I'm 2/3, I'm 2/5 short of a human. So how could I expect to get human rights? Dogs and animals have civil rights. You can't just go out and abuse an animal. They got rights. So anybody can get civil rights. A dog and a cat got rights. That's called animal cruelty. If you go out and beat up on an animal or whatever, that's called animal cruelty. They have rights, and you can go to prison for that. So I got the same rights of a dog, but I don't have human rights. However, if a dog is a police officer, he's deputized as a police officer, and you kill that dog, you murdered an officer, and you can face life in prison for killing a dog. But since they deputized him as that, you see what I'm saying? It's crazy though, right? A dog got more human rights than me. A dog has more human rights than me, but the same rights a dog have, I have. No, change the Constitution to where I'm not 3/5 of a man. Change the Constitution to where I'm a full man, and then therefore with me being a full man, now I'm able to get human rights. And once I get human rights, now I'm able to get reparations for what my ancestors done as human beings, as opposed to cattle and property. See, y'all asking for reparations, but y'all not even putting yourself in a position to actually be erect according to paperwork, because there's no way that they're going to compensate an animal. What compensating do they owe an animal? My dog Fido was good to me. He protected the house. Fido's gone now. What am I going to give the rest of his offspring something? No. Fido is my property. You see what I'm saying? Fido birthright only existed with me when I named him, when I got him. That became his birthright, like when I named him. See? So, you know, like, and I'm not knocking nobody that's fighting for reparations, but you can fight for it and be like, oh, see, that's just proved my point. He's not going to do what we said. You already know they're not going to do it. But the bottom line is that what you have to do is you have to have that thing changed. You have to have that thing changed so that therefore they can recognize you as a human being. And with human rights, now you're able to fight for. See, like they're going against Saudi Arabia for human rights because they consider them people over there human. So the people that don't want to be suppressed by Islam or religion or whatever, they're giving them human rights. They're trying to put pressure on Saudi Arabia to let these people do and be what they want to be. But you already know what they're trying to do. They're trying to push an agenda. And the Saudis are like, no, we're not having it. They're trying to push a free expression agenda, which no problem. You can have a right to do whatever you want in your bedroom, but they're going to push the homosexual agenda, the LGBT community agenda. They're going to push that whole thing. They're going to push, democracy. And democracy is nothing but capitalism. So they're going to bring capitalism there. And then before you know it, the country is going to be poor. People are going to recognize what they don't have and things of that nature. They're going to be disgruntled. And therefore, you're going to have people like Hillary Clinton or people of her ilk that's going to be able to go over there and stir up dissent. And next you know, people in Saudi Arabia will be a civil war. And they're going to get rid of the so-called, quote-unquote, tyrant who won't give them freedom. And then therefore, they're going to push their agenda. And there's going to be poverty and everything. Basically, they're going to turn Saudi Arabia into a ghetto, just like they did Libya. They turned Libya. Libya had no debt, no homelessness. Look what happened. They get rid of Muammar Gaddafi, and they're like the eyesore of Africa right now. Nobody wants to go there. But before that, he was going to put the natural resource of his country to back his dollar, to back his currency. And you know what type of disruption that would have did for Europe and the United States alone and the whole financial system? Yeah. It hasn't been since 1919 that any of our money has been backed by even silver, let alone gold. The gold standard fell during the Civil War because the North was broke. The North was broke. He had to turn the United States into a corporation in order for him to get the funding to beat the South. And he mortgaged the company off to England. Come on now, like this is Abraham Lincoln. This is the history they don't tell you. This is stuff they're not going to tell you or express to you, you know, like for real. But it's funny though. It's just, I'm just saying it's funny how it all falls in line. Like, see, after Abraham Lincoln died, you had Ulysses Grant that took over, and his Secretary of State, well, Secretary of the U.S. Treasury was none other than Calvin P. Chase. And if you know the name Chase, then you know what I'm talking about. And that was the U.S. Treasury. He was the Secretary of U.S. Treasury. And he's a long time steel and land dealer. Like, you know, he dealt with steel and oil and resources. Like, yeah, definitely. Railroad tracks and stuff like that. Calvin P. Chase was not nothing to play with. But I'm saying he was the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury under Ulysses Grant. Ulysses Grant is considered the executive president. He was the one who actually moved forward with the corporation and the incorporation of the United States, because that's what Abraham Lincoln put in place. But Abraham Lincoln literally had to sacrifice himself in order for this to come to fruition. And that's like with Obama, right? Obama was like the Abraham Lincoln. And then after that, Trump came. Trump was like the Ulysses Grant, the executive president, the business president, things of that nature. And guess what came back? Steel. and resources and gas came back. Like, see, y'all think that white people just voted for Trump or just white racist people voted for Trump? No. Listen, there was a coalition that was being established by some state attorney generals, and it started in Oklahoma. And let me see, the Secretary of State for the state of Oklahoma, he ended up becoming the environmental services environmental protection agency. He became head of the EPA. He ended up having to step down. But him and all attorney generals that were Republican, that were in coal states that were shut down because of Obama and everything, they formed a coalition. And with that, they put together a platform. And just so happened that the platform they put together was for whoever that was jumping on board. This is what they wanted. See, people don't do their study, and they just listen to the news and whatever all these so-called bootleg ass black folks talk about, or whatever like that. But I'm gonna tell you this right here. There was already a coalition brewing against Obama in anything that stood for what Obama represented and what had established. This movement was so strong because we're talking about state attorney generals. We're not talking about like state representatives. We're talking about state attorney generals. Like these dudes are, these men and women are head of they're attorney generals. Like they're head of the legal aspect. But when you're attorney general, it's not just criminal. When you're attorney general, it's not just criminal. You cover all aspects of law, whether it be environmental, tort, claim, whatever, but mainly environmental, because once they stopped the building of the coal, that affected the economy, and that put a lot of people out of work. And a lot of these states are quote unquote white, like hands down. And they formed a coalition, and Donald Trump was with everything in which that they were with. And that was one of his power bases. That was one of his power bases. He didn't go on a faith base like George Bush did, a faith based, power, campaign or whatever. No. Donald Trump came in with an agenda to drain the swamp, change the way that politics are done. He told Hillary Clinton, he said, "I wish I was president because I will lock you up. You need to be arrested." Like, and I'm not bolstering Trump or whatever like that. And I'm just saying that to say this, that like, even if, hold on, me personally, you don't even have to agree with me. And I don't care if you don't agree with me. And if you don't, I respect your opinion or whatever, this, that, and the third. I definitely do that. I have no problem or issue with a person that disagrees with me or whatever based on what I believe in. Like, but I don't believe that the man is racist. I believe he does have prejudices. Just like I have prejudices. It's certain people, no. And one of the main things they bring up as far as him being a racist is that he denied black people to live in his building. No. See, I had this discussion the other week that no, he didn't deny black people to live in his building. He said he doesn't want low income tenants. And he's got every right to do that, because when you purchase a building, and you use public money or any type of tax abatement or subsidies, then therefore you're subject to create public housing or at least have affordable housing. He didn't do all of that. He purchased his property with his own cash. So he has a right. He's a private owner. He doesn't have public money. So he has a right to deny. He don't want Section 8. Basically what he's saying is he didn't want Section 8 in his building. Almost 80% of New York City is subsidized. So therefore, it's not like he's discriminating, and there's more white people in New York City than black people. So therefore, he didn't just discriminate against black people. He just didn't want affordable housing. He didn't want fixed income or low income people living in his buildings. He wanted market rate rent. He didn't want Section 8 or whatever, in which he reserved that right because that's his property. That's what I'm saying. However, we black people took it as if like, oh, he's being racist or whatever. Like, no, listen, if you're a landlord and you spent millions of dollars to get this building revamped, you don't want just anybody living in there. You want people that can actually, number one, afford the rent, and their behavior shows that they're able to live in my place. Not to say that low-income people wouldn't behave, wouldn't be worthy or whatever like that. I'm just saying he reserves that right to do that. And that'd be something like they'd be like, no, it was proof. I said it was never proven. Tell me one time he went to court and lost for that. Tell me one time he went to court. He won because he said it's not to have anything again. Because they tried to put a discrimination. You can't put income as discrimination. Income is not discrimination. You don't make enough to live in my building. That's not discrimination. You just don't meet the requirements. That's not discrimination. He won in court. They took him to federal court. He won. So, like, and it wasn't because that he was discriminating against black folks. And I don't mean to sound, as passionate about it, but my whole thing is that be the number one thing that black people bring up. Oh, he discriminated against black people moving in his building. Listen, he didn't. It was just about low-income housing. Black people, see, you got people like Al Sharpton and all these little ambulance chasers that'll be like, oh, he discriminated, he racist, he don't want black people living in his building. Listen, so if I own my own building and I don't want purple people living in my building, I got a right to say, but not saying purple people. But if I'm like, listen, you don't meet the requirements to live in my building, I have a right to deny you. You didn't meet the standards. And I have a right to set standards because this is my property. You can't make my property liberal. You can't make my property social. It's not socialism. This is the United States of America. It's a democratic society. This is capitalism. It's capitalism. I buy a building, I expect to make a return on my investment. This is the American way. Why can't I do it? But anyway, moving forward, that's just dispelling that or getting out the way as far as my belief and things of that nature. But no, listen, I ain't vote for nobody on this last run because I didn't get nothing in return for my vote. So I'm not voting. You know what I mean? And truthfully, I swear to God, if they were to take away black people vote, the politicians would never go to our churches. They won't come to our cookouts. They won't go to our NAACP meetings. They won't do none of that because they're useless. They can't even vote for me. You think they're going to show up at your fish fry? You think they're going to show up at your church and stuff like that? Yeah, hold on. That's my brother Hakeem calling me. Yo, what up, player?
What's good, Playboy?
What's good, man? I'm on my YouTube channel. I'm streaming live right now. What's good though? I'm on the phone with you.
I tune in. How could I tune in?
I'm on Open for Business on YouTube.
How could I? Well, I gotta go on a record computer or something.
Yeah, you can do it on your phone or computer.
How you do it?
Go to YouTube and punch in Open for Business.
Open for Business. All right. I'm about to do it right now.
But yeah, hold on, let me see. Yeah, I'm streaming live. But what's good though, bro?
Ain't shit, man. You already know the music business. You already know.
How was work, man? How was the work week, man?
It was gravy, man. Actually, I got a better like I ain't like working from 2 to 10:30, and like they just hit me with some like from 7 a.m. to 3:20 or whatever.
That's cool, man. You got the morning then. I mean, because when you wake up in the morning, your day progressed. Before you know it, you out the door.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, yeah, like, yo, I used to have a job when I was working for Wayfair. I used to be there at 9, but like they'd be like, yo, don't think you getting out at 5. Like, you feel me? I ain't care though, because that was during COVID and they was paying us motherfucking hazard pay. So that shit was like $22 an hour with the overtime, and they paid us every 2 weeks.
Yo, that's why I was mad, because I can't get no overtime.
Yeah.
And like overtime make it check a little better.
Hell yeah, definitely, man. But like, yeah.
Hey, I'm good. And on Friday, that's overtime. Then I work Saturday, but I don't know. But no, tell me what you want right now, bro.
I said Open for Business. It's called Open, capital O, P-E-N.
Capital O, hold up.
It's a capital O and regular letters, P-E-N.
P-E-N.
And capital F-O-R, capital F, lowercase O-R.
Capital F.
Lowercase O-R, and business.
O-R.
And capital B and write business. S-I.
Hold up. B-U-S-I-N.
E-S-S, yeah. Bet you should catch it from there. And you're gonna see like a little, it's gonna be like a little emblem where it just say open, it's like gray and red.
I don't know. It's a Jackal open for business, popcorns.
All right, damn, like hold on, let me see, man, because I don't know why I'm not getting like, matter of fact, maybe I need to update my contacts or something, but for some reason it's just not. All right, let me see what I look like on YouTube.